Hello, 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 hello. Hello, slimes. Sorry for the noise. This is going to be my most beginner tutorial yet, so I'm sorry to all the people who have been watching my videos and have been in my server. Join the server, by the way. I'm sorry, but I got to do a beginner tutorial. Some people joined the server and they're sharing their beats and there was no structure, which is fine, but I'm not listening to 2 minutes of a loop. I got to teach y'all what to do. First off though, Praxi plays, his last video fell off and he's like out of the water. There's no point in death threats anymore. You know why that video fell off? He was ranking best albums in 2024. Didn't mention my album. Didn't mention me once. So I'm after Navy D now. I'm gonna rob him for his YouTube knowledge and music production skills. He did a video ranking the rhythm roulette stuff. So I'm gonna rank them right now. Number 1, genuinely, Larry Fisherman taught me so much. That's Mac Miller's producer name. Taught me so much about production. I highly recommend all you guys go watch that right now. Keep that in the back of your head when you're producing. Number 2, Ninth Wonder. It's such a cool insight into his production, and it teaches you that you can do the sample on top of the drum break, just have the drums running, which we will talk about later in this video. And the last one, number 0 on the list, is Lex Luger. One of the worst beats I've heard in my entire life. What is this? They sampled like a dance beat and it's just the worst trap song of all time. And he's like, this is sick. No, it's not. He does a second beat that's okay, but like that doesn't redeem you for having the worst one. I'm done punching up and beefing with really rich people. I'm gonna humble myself here. Let's get into the beat. If you think that Rhythm Roulette should get me on the channel. I think I could tear up a Rhythm Roulette if they probably have to give me like time though. Like a couple days. I think I could tear up a Rhythm Roulette. Just cut out that part before. Sampling. That's what I do. That's what I teach you guys to do. So we got to start with the sample. I recommend samplet.io. There's other ways to find samples. I know Navy D has a whole playlist of stuff. You can just like find it on your own, just like listening to soul music. There's Tracklib. Samplet is free though. If you go down here, filters, these are all different parameters you can put in to find different kinds of samples. I'm not going to give you my settings because then you might start to sound like me too much, and I want you guys to figure it out your way. But if you are strapped for samples in the server, there is a sample chat with like tons of samples. I'm always posting stuff in here, like cool stuff I find. Anyways, during my sample hunt, I found this. Really cool bass line. And this is mostly just a beginner jazz hot tutorial, but I will do some how to tribe stuff in here also. For low end, I highly recommend you just look for that upright bass sound, like upright bass sounds. That's really where most of the beats come from. It's just upright bass and drums, which is why it's perfect for easy beats. So yeah, this has a really great bass, but you can hear this. There's crashes, piano, shakers, everything. I'm gonna teach you guys a little trick on how to get rid of high frequencies. It's a little compressed, but I like it that way. I like it like that. There's a couple ways to do it. Maximus and Fruity Compressor are two of the best ways. Then there's also EQ. Compressor splits it into 3 different tracks, right? You got the low band, the mid band, and the high band. It splits the frequency into 3 sections. If you delete the high end, delete the mid end, and then keep the... Oh my god. And then oh my god. And then keep the low end. That's what you get. And it's just the low end. I keep a little bit of the high end. Why? None of it even shows up. It's like superstition. Just know that all sounds have a low end, so you won't just get the bass. The only way to exactly get the bass is to use stem splitters. Personally, I think stem splitting is cheating, and most of them use AI, and AI is bad. But you do whatever you want. I mean, Travis Scott used stem splitting, so that kind of makes it valid. There's also Maximus, which is the same deal, basically. Again, play with these effects. The best way to learn plugins, this is not true. The best way to learn plugins is to screw around and get a sound you like. Then last but not least, I have some soft clipper. This is for some distortion. We won't talk about that. Too complicated. It's pitch down. You could pitch here or here. If pitching up here will slow the sample down entirely, pitching here gives you more control. That's the effect for the sample. But before we get to sample chopping and everything, let's talk about drum breaks. Now drum loops can be hard at the beginning for beginners. You might have shitty sounds and you can't make a good drum loop because of that. You might not have the rhythm locked into you. You might be a troglodyte who doesn't know where the kick goes. I totally forgot to say this. Comment suggestions. People suggested Tribe. I'm making Tribe right now. For those of you who know, the last poll, JPEG and Tribe tied, and I didn't end up doing a Tribe beat. So I'm doing one now. If you just rewind that clip from a while ago, in 2020 there will be a virus that will shut down everything, a brand new pandemic, it will be called COVID. I think that clip was from too far back. Okay, cut back to now. Let's do drum breaks. Suggest stuff. I mean it. Suggest it. To find drum breaks, you could go on sampling, go through funk, and just listen to whole songs to find drum breaks. Or you could go to Tribe Called Quest and listen to their music. And you can find a song like Bugging Out. And you can go to Who Sampled. Who Sampled is the best website for this stuff. And then here it'll show you the song. And then here it'll show you the samples. And then here it'll literally just tell you what the samples are. So from Bugging Out we hear... Oh, never mind. I can't show you because it's on spot. Wait, I can. Never mind. No audio's playing. Oh. You guys hear it. Yo, microphone check. And then here are the drums. Very simple. Actually, a little fun fact. The sample that I got the drums from, same sample they use for the chorus for Can I Kick It. Isn't that cool? Yeah, so if there's an artist you like that samples a lot, just like type in the song name and then who sampled, and you can find that drum loop. You can just use it. You can just use it, man. No one cares. But sometimes the drum loop will be off, you know? Like there will be parts of songs where everything cuts out besides the drums. And then you just click and drag and you see this little red box. Everything inside of here will loop as long as you have this infinity on. And you can just use this to see if something loops fast enough or loops good enough. Sounds good to the ear. And once it sounds good, it doesn't matter how it looks as long as it sounds good looped. Then you pop it in to your playlist. And as you can see right now, with the metronome, it is off. It is off. All drum loops should start on the kick. And some of these funk loops will have a kick. You're going to start on that bigger one. Sometimes it's different. Everything that I talk about is case by case basis. And then you want the snare to be on this like more bold line. You always want that snare to fall on there. It doesn't have to fall exactly there. Swing is good, but it's good to try to get as close as possible to that point. So this is what our drum loop sounds like. You can see there's little breaks in there. That's just me trying my best to quantize it onto the thing. And since it's not perfectly quantized, not perfectly on time because the drummer is on a machine, it's not going to sound perfect, but that's just part of the appeal. I have no effects on here. We're keeping it very simple. I do have it in mono. So you can see when we play it, you can hear it a lot in the right ear. That's just because I think the snare is playing in the right ear. That's just how it was recorded. Sometimes stuff will play in different ears. The easiest way to make it flat is to do mono. There's this little wheel down here. You just move that all the way to the right, and then both sides are even now. There's more complicated stuff with this, but there's a very simple beginner tutorial. I'm just showing you, Now we're going to get into some sampling. Some people might not even show you how to sample in a beginner tutorial. They'll just slap a loop on there. But I think Tribe is a good way to get into sampling because you're really just trying to make a bass loop work. For the intro, we have this. It kind of has that swing. Now here's a rule about sampling. You have your section, right? The more cuts you make, the more control you'll have, but the more complicated it'll be. If you want it to be easy, do minimal chops, and that'll basically just align the sample. But if you want to control every part of it, you have to cut every single beat of it. You can see I'm like kind of in between. I don't recommend you go either or. Do what fits. Some samples just need a little bit of quantizing. So what you do is you just highlight a section. You find this little icon. It's also in Edison. And then you just click this and then add marker. And then everything will kind of just be set up for you. Just slap it in a Slice X or Fruity Slicer, and then it'll be set up right here. Now there's a couple ways to sample, like to actually get your stuff in order. Either you can have something already in your head and play it out and figure out there, or you can paint in the notes yourself. Like, okay, like that sounds, and then you kind of just play as you go. Or you can use a MIDI controller, like a keyboard or a drum pad. Okay, so you go here, and then you click Assign Trigger Notes to All, and then you press every pad or key you want to use. And it'll basically reset everything. Also, when you put something into Slice X for the first time, it'll reset everything. Just right click and click Cut. Since I already have a pattern, I'm going to click Paste, but click Cut, it'll get rid of all these notes. And now I can play with my MIDI controller. See how Ninth Wonder does his samples is he gets his drum loop. Oh my god, he gets his drum loop and then he plays the sample to the drum loop. And you can actually just record that in if you just click record, open a new pattern, everything. I painted it in though. I was just doing that to show you guys. Here's where we start to talk about structure. This is fine. Why isn't it playing? but that's going to be really boring. It's okay to have loops like The Alchemist and stuff, but that's only good if you can put sound effects on top of it, like how The Alchemist does, or you can have a rapper on it to entertain people. There's also the MF Doom Madlib, you know, option, where you put like sound bites and like little recording clips and cartoons and stuff. Not everyone can do that, so, but you must think of at least an alternate section. See here, I have this little funky bass part right here. Here's just an example of like what I was saying before with how complicated things get. Here, very simple big chops. It'll highlight. See, big chop right there. Small, small. Right? As you can listen, it's kind of not really on beat. That second bass hit plays a little late. So over here, I have another chop where I cut it up even more. You see there's another cut right there. Now that makes it more quantized, but as you can see, now the MIDI is even more complicated. So that's that trade-off that you have. Now it's time to get into structure. So here with this little loop right here, since it's very fast and it's very short, we're gonna do 4 loops of it. A 4-bar loop. So after this plays 4 times, I'm already kind of sick of it, so I wanted to change. So then this is gonna play 3 times and then an alternate section, which allows me to repeat it even more. You see what I mean? The RZA will sometimes do an 8-bar loop, which you repeat the same thing 7 times, and then an alternate section on the 8th. Sometimes you can just do 4-bar repeat, switch to another 4-bar repeat, switch to another 4-bar repeat, you know? But it usually comes in 4 or 8 measures. And the only times you ever loop it through the entirety is if it's really, really catchy. Like Cream. Cream never lets up. It is the same loop throughout the entire song. But it's also a longer loop. Like the longer your loops, the more complicated... No, the longer your loops or the more complicated your sampling, the longer you can keep it because the more interesting it is. And also, Alchemist says that the Tribe does this where they fade in their drums. I've never heard it, but I do it here. Just because the drums kind of aren't quantized, so I need to get the ear used to it. I'll talk about this fading stuff in a second. There you heard a little bit of it. Now the Tribe, we're back to the old tutorial stuff. The Tribe has these crazy choruses, you know, Award Tour, Can I Kick It, all kinds of stuff. Sometimes there's no chorus at all, like Scenario, musical chorus. Scenario is really just the same loop throughout. There's this iconic part where Busta Rhymes raps over the bass and there's no drums. That's not common, you know? So here, just to pay tribute to that kind of sound, I did have like a little sax part to play every so often, but I don't have like any crazy sound collage chorus. I went back to the sample and I found this. I cut off the part that matters, which is this. I did a little filtering to it. Maximus, limiter. We won't get into it. But reverb is going to be your best friend as a producer. Everyone uses reverb on everything, I'm pretty sure. But if you listen to it as is, it's kind of on top of it. And then it kind of just cuts on top. We're going to smooth that out a little bit more with fading. Now, built into everything is now this new fading thing where you can just click and drag these points. But they always lead to 0, and they're always a very extreme slope. So to control it, we're going to do some envelopes, which will be your best friend when you kind of get into more effects. We're going to right-click on this little volume slider to create envelope. Now, you see I highlighted up here, which is double-click and then drag. Everything, the envelope that I will create will be the size of this section. So you see this is highlighted. I go right-click up, I right-click create automation clip. It's only this long. I think when you don't do any right-click, it does either the full playlist or like most of it. Yeah, I think it's from the marker up to the end of the song. So then you just draw your points in, and that's it. That's it. That's the whole beat. You can make a beat even simpler than this. Well, you should do if you make a beat. You can come to the server, share it. We can give you specific tips. Some people join that are like brand new. There's one guy joined. Crazy first beat. Okay, I'm going to find it for you guys because it is crazy. It is crazy. Crazy beat. Crazy. And he said he just followed my my Nujabiz tutorial, which you can find somewhere linked. Yeah, if you want more techniques, I got more on my channel. If you see an artist you like, I bet the video is going to be fine. If you want a lot of sauce, like some intermediate expert level sauce, the Death Grips video Check that out. That is full of sauce. But that's it. Keep subscribing so I can keep making videos. Join the server. Thank you. Also, wait, sorry, I forgot to say. I would be making more videos faster if I wasn't playing Marvel Rivals. Is there anyone who's good at the game? Because I'm stuck in silver because I can't find anyone that's good. And it's not my fault because every time I win, I get like 80 like rank points, whatever they're called. And then every time I lose, I lose 10 because I'm doing good, but my team sucks. I swear I'm not toxic. Anyways, keep subscribing so I can keep making videos. Goodbye.